Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon for the people that is in Europe. And we're very pleased and excited again to be sharing another chapter of our webinar series. We have Cristabel Huerta again with us from HATO. We're very excited because we're doing like a package of webinars, and um, this webinar will be recorded and then will be free in our platforms. I think that the next week, Cristabel is she has a presentation for around 40, 50 minutes. We guess around that. And then we're going to have open questions. And like always in Poultry School, our main goal is to, first of all, make a community that we believe in sharing knowledge, support, and collaboration. And we're very glad that Cristabel is sharing our same vision. And Cristabel, welcome again, and thank you for your time and your willingness of doing this seminar. So the time is yours.
Thank you, Rodolfo. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And I'm again very happy to keep collaborating with the Poultry School here with Rodolfo, bringing again knowledge and topics that are certainly very important to bring the awareness of lighting and in poultry barns. So indeed, this time is the second chapter. We had a master class last time that it was all about the key aspects of lighting and in general in poultry applications. But today we will focus only on the benefits of optimal broiler lighting. So we will remind a bit those other aspects that influence specifically in broilers, and we will also name benefits, challenges, how to do the correct light management in the barn to get better results. For HATO, we share the same vision as Poultry School. We like to bring our HATO insights that is for the full company, always the same vision of improving animal welfare, because from there is what we've seen changes in animal behavior, and with that, better results in farms. And we want to share all this knowledge that we have gained in the experience on field, also with sharing important knowledge and management equipment with other distributors, dealers, also with end users, well, the experience of what they have, of issues that they have managing their flock, and also with lighting specifically. And of course, all the research, also with scientific literature, we support that, and we do test, and we run also our own research. And with that is how we come with these insights that are very valuable. So welcome everyone, and we will start here. I have along the presentation some polls. It's not that you will see and that you will answer, but that you keep it in mind, and we will discuss a bit, and then I will present how come this not really answering the questions, but then you see how all these specific topics are influenced when you do or a wrong light management or a correct light management, and you will see the behavior change in the flock. All right, so let's start with the first one. Just so that you bring it with you along the presentation. So what are the main challenges to overcome in a broiler farm? So I present here, of course, all of them are challenges. So the most important are always in mind with the farmer. It is uneven growth, feed conversion ratio, piling and wet litter, stress and mortality, and chicken quality. So for some of you, it's more than the other, or you are the end user, or you are the dealer, or the scientific, but then you come to hear what are the common challenges in a broiler farm. So the V, of course, feed conversion ratio is one of the most important parameters here in the broiler farms. And we will see how lighting can help us to improve all these challenges, and you can bring it into benefits. Here, we name the 4 key benefits of optimal broiler lighting, which is improved the feed conversion ratio, stress-free birds, decreased huddling, and improved and uniform growth. So how can we get those with the help of lighting? Well, basically, we need to create an optimal light climate that reduces stress of poultry. And that we get it with a right light management in the farm. And you need to adapt it to the needs of the animal and also to the type of housing that you have. So it's not that you have a barn and you need some light in there and to reach certain light intensity and that's it. So therefore, we had a master class where we explained the key aspects of lighting. That is not only light intensity that we need to focus, but also the broad light spectrum, the color that is the correct one that improves growth or that keeps birds calmer, for instance. Also, that is flicker-free, that is also a stress factor in birds and so on. So we will learn here along the presentation those specific aspects of light that will help us to create this optimal light climate. So with that, we come that when we reduce the stress, is that this calories gained when they consume the feed, that this is kept in the body, so body energy, and then it is really for growth, to gain weight, and that these calories are not wasted with unwanted behavior in the barn. With that, we mean agitation, or they are not reaching a feed because they don't find it, or they got ill, or we have this issue with huddling and wet litter, and then creates diseases, illness, food lesions, and so on. So those we mean unwanted behavior, and that the calories are wasted and the body energy is not kept in the chicken. And there is not a proper growth or a uniform growth or the desired weight that you want to get. So with a higher feed and water intake, when we provide the right light intensity at the right area of the house so that the birds really can find and reach a feed and do decrease the stress, then the chicken will feel better, and that you will see a change in behavior and then a proper growth and better results in the farm. So this is like kind of a winning formula with correct light management that we will learn now how to reduce stress. Okay, so with optimal light climate, as I was saying, is fulfilling the needs of the animals, because most of the time we think about the technology, which is good about having a lighting system that is efficient, perhaps, that is with a long durability, that is also efficient about energy, so saving cost. But that is only needs that are fulfilling certain cost that is for the farmer, but not really that it matters for the birds. So here we have to check as well what are the key aspects of lighting that really influences animal behavior in the way that they can perform better. And at the end, we will increase performances and get better results in the farm. So that is what HATO is following to create these lighting solutions that are animal adapted according to the type of housing and the application. And with that, we can improve eyesight. With that, you improve also animal welfare because they will perceive better their environment. And what is very important is that they can reach feed and water. Okay, with a light at the right correct light intensities, and that you can also measure that, because it is very important that you are aware how is your light climate in the house to be sure that you are getting the right light intensity, light distribution, if this is uniform, if you are creating the right behavior or desired behavior in the farm with the right color of lighting and so on. Okay, so that is how what we will learn here for broilers. So in the basic theory, the last class, we also explain what is light. This is important, so you keep in mind how would look the solar spectrum, which is very wide, as we see in this graphic. The solar spectrum goes from UV until the infrared rays. And what is the visible light is what it comes in between the ultraviolet rays and the infrared rays. And depending on the every biological species, that differs, and that is depending of the physiognomy of the eye. But what I want to explain with this graphic is that the solar spectrum is the white light. So the combination of all these colors or wavelengths is what we see as white light. That is what we want to simulate in the barn. So we need to have a broad light spectrum to improve eyesight, to improve the vision of the birds so that they can perform better. Okay, and that's a monochromatic light will mean that is just one wavelength of all these wavelengths that we see here. So in the blue part are shorter wavelengths, in the red part are wider wavelengths, and that influences in different ways the biology of the bird, so the behavior of the bird. We will learn also that and show some examples of the influence on different colors, but also color temperature, meaning if it is a warm white or blue of cool white, which is still the white light, this broader spectrum, but which is measured in Kelvin degrees. So the polychromatic light, okay? So now looking into the details of the view that differ by species, that is due to the biological process, we see that the spectrum, how is perceived by poultry, is wider if we compare that with humans. We see that poultry can perceive a bit of the ultraviolets and also the infrareds, meaning that we really need to provide a white light that gives you all this combination of colors to improve their sight. Therefore, it's also important to remind that poultry is one of the species that is most sensitive to light, and therefore light is very important, that they perceive higher light intensities than humans. And the way to measure light intensity is with lux levels, but that is based into the way that human perceived this light spectrum. And a poultry is more sensitive, and therefore perhaps you have heard about the galley lux, which is the way to measure the light intensity in the way that poultry perceives it. If you have a light meter, sometimes they can measure the lux level and also the galley lux level, and you will see that the galley lux level is always higher than the lux levels, and that is because poultry is more sensitive to light. So just to be aware how poultry is perceiving the light environment in the barn. We have here the comparison then, so we see this differentiation, and then we will learn as well how different light sources, artificial lighting, can differ in representing this light spectrum. So it's not meaning that if we have the same color, if we are talking about the temperature color of the light measured in Kelvin degrees, let's say a warm white light that is around 2,900 or 3,000 Kelvin, the spectra will be the same. So here is what I want to compare. For instance, an incandescent light, we have a wider side in the red part of the spectrum. The fluorescent having just peaks here and there, but here is not a wider spectra that will improve sight of birds. And we can also compare with LEDs, which is nowadays the best technology to use in livestock farms, certainly with poultry farms, that it is a wider spectra with a bit of all the parts of this variation of colors in the white, having blue and green, and more than you would have with incandescent, but also a big part of the yellow, orange, and red part of the spectrum, which is very important for the growth of the birds, and also influencing in their way to keep them calmer, because the blue-green reactivates more the bird, so influence in creating more activity to keep them active. And with a warmer light or a spectrum will keep them calm. That is how we can see that perhaps it's the same color, but different spectra. Okay, so here again, other options on how can lighting help to reduce stress in poultry. I was talking about a broad spectrum of light. So if we provide a broad spectrum, they will feel more at ease because they will recognize better their environments and reach better feeders and drinkers, identify better within each other, and also go around the system or along the house to stimulate natural behavior. Other options would be to have the correct temperature, color temperature or CCT, what I was also telling about the differentiation with polychromatic light, which would be the white light or a monochromatic light. So which color can also influence a certain behavior with birds. CRI is another aspect of light that perhaps you have heard about it. In the previous master class, we also talk about, I will put here some examples so that you can refer or differentiate the value of the CRI, dimmable and flicker-free lights, or a proper light intensity and distribution. So all of these are aspects of light that really matters, that you really need to measure and analyze to create this optimal light climates and reduce stress in poultry. Now, about the CCT, I have already explained a lot about it, but just here pointing out, so the warm white that it would be below the until the 3000 Kelvin is having the most red part of the spectrum, but it's still having the blue, green. It is important, therefore, to measure just to be sure that you are having this part of colors that are influencing the growth of birds, but also to keep them calm, not much stress. And also the cool white, which is more focused on the blue-green part of the spectrum. Then we are talking about solutions between the 4000 and 5000 Kelvin degrees that are also used in broiler. We see here the comparison with daylights when we are wanted to simulate sunrise and sunset. We have to think about a warm white lighting solution, and with a blue sky or midday sunlight, we have to think about a cool white solution. So it's about more even that 5000 Kelvin degrees. So it's more a blue part of the spectrum in that daylight. When you have dimmable lights, you can simulate daylight. That also helps to reduce the stress in birds because you are simulating the sunsets and sunrise, and the poultry can know what is coming. So they can prepare themselves. And with that, you stimulate a more natural behavior as well. So we will also show you how it works with dimmable lighting. Now, if we see about the specific colors, what are the benefits? With cool white, it helps to improve growth and feed conversion rate because activates the bird. So the blue-green part of the spectrum is what reinforces the muscles and bones, and therefore they are more active under that cool white light. That we recommend to use during rearing period or broilers up to 2 kilos. But afterward, you have to check how is the flock behaving, because it can also cause too much activity and issues like flapping, and that can catch injuries or marks in the breast and therefore to keep birds calmer, a warm white solution is the most standard one to use. And also very recommended for heavy broilers, so above the 2 kilos. And with a good warm white light, you should have as well this part of the blue-green part of the spectrum, which is very important for the growth and the muscles and bones. And now the added value that we have seen, and also on the external and internal research is the blue, using blue monochromatic lighting. And that is because makes the bird sit still. And we recommend to use this color only during vaccinations or catching before a slaughter. I want to show you a video because an image can talk more than 1,000 words. So there you see the effects of this color of light in the behavior of the birds. It runs a bit slowly, but there you will see the lady going inside the barn under a white light. And as we know, the broilers tend to run away and it's more difficult to catch birds. You see with the blue effect all of them are sitting still on the ground, and that helps a lot to make this task easier and also avoid the stress, which will increase also meat quality and of course efficient the task of doing this this part of the activity, which is very important. So we recommend to use the blue light then. The CRI, this is a very important aspect that sometimes is overseen, sometimes because it is not really well known or understand of why it really matters. The CRI measures and compares the reflected color of an object under artificial lighting. So as the value that comes of the CRI is up to 100. The closest that goes to 100 means that is how we will see the colors as it will be under a sunlight. So we have to check if that artificial light is giving you the correct light spectrum, the correct reflection of color of that object. Therefore, we recommend you to measure the CRI with a proper light meter, with a good sensor, to identify if the CRI is above 80 number, because that means that is optimal for poultry. You know that they are very sensitive to light. They can perceive much more colors that humans do. So therefore, if they can perceive better colors and their surroundings and their environments, they will decrease stress. And here we have, for instance, a natural white light, which would be 5,000 Kelvin degrees, so the sunlight, and reflecting this spectrum into that object, which is an apple. And we will see it as a red apple if the object is red. With under an artificial white light, another lamp having as well the 5,000 Kelvin value, we see that it is missing some colors in that spectrum. That red apple, you will see it as an orange color, meaning that you have a low CRI. Perhaps that light source is giving you 75 or 65 points out of the 100. An artificial white light, mainly an LED, can give you a higher CRI, and as higher the quality is of the LED, higher the CRI as well. We are having as well 5,000 Kelvin degrees and giving you a more similar spectra of what you will get from a sunlight. And there, that red apple, you will see it really red. Sometimes you have light sources that are not white, but that they call it the LED RGB, which is red, green, and blue. And there you are missing an important part of the red sometimes. So even that having reds is not the full part of red, or not exactly that wavelength, which is very important to influence the metabolism of the birds. So it's missing that red. But certainly in broiler breeders, or breeders in general, and layers, that red part is very important. So we recommend you to measure that and be sure that you are having the correct light color to influence on animal behavior in the desired way. Now, about light flicker, this is another aspect that can also help to reduce the stress. Light flicker, as definition, is the fluctuation in light intensity of a lamp that repeats over time. Here in this video, you can see what we mean about flicker, because we do not or cannot identify a flicker just by simple eyesight. Many times we don't see it. We don't see that flicker. Sometimes we can perceive it when that flicker is very high. Imagine you being at office and that are lamps that flickers a lot, not seeing it, but sometimes you can get a headache or you feel more tired under that light environment that if you move to a different office or if you are at home. So that is how it can also influence a behavior of birds. But the issue is that with poultry, they can see that flicker. This example, for instance, with that a steady lamp having no flicker at all, and then the other that flickers all the time, they perceive it, poultry, because they are more sensitive to light. That fluctuation for them is like a constant on and off of the light, and that creates kind of alert in their body, and seems like those shadows is like a predator coming to catch them. So it is creating a lot of stress, and that then is translated into unwanted behavior in the barn, or agitation, or illness, or not going to the feeder if those are under that flicker lights, and so on. So that really can lead to huddling, smothering, mortality, and so lowering performances of the barn. So again, very important to measure the flicker index of the lights. If this is closest to 0.0, the best, then is a threshold of 0.06. Above, then it is always some flicker in the light that can cause some unwanted behavior of stress in the barn. So that is what we recommend you to look for flicker-free lighting solutions. As well, dimmable solutions, because as said, that prepares poultry for what is coming. Simulating dusk and dawn stimulates a natural behavior, and it is very important to prevent a flicker during dimming, so that especially when you are dimming lights down, so for lower light intensities, as when the flicker occurs. So again, measure the light intensity, measure the flicker at 100% with the lights on, and also on low light intensity when you are dimming the lights, to ensure that your lighting solutions are flicker-free and not causing stress and other unwanted behavior. And you can prevent that sudden stress responses as well when you can dim the lights from 0 to 100%. Then that's to put the lights completely on and then off, also causing some stress in birds. Prevent that increased heart rate and energy usage again. With that, they can gain more weight and as well decrease the FCR. Now, this is another very important topic with broilers about light distribution. We know that we need to reach certain lux levels. That also depends on the type of housing, the market, the trends of the market, what is happening in your region, how are mostly the barns in there. We know, for instance, in North America, is now a new research going about creating lighting. And here we talk about uniform light, which is very well known and used here in Europe and also in China and other regions. What you need to reach is uniform light in the barn, because they have seen with the years the evolution of the correct use of light, since there were open barns having sunlight until now that they have a more climate control inside the barn, and then how to get the proper light climate. And then get better performances of the birds. And that is what I have seen, that reaching uniform light in floor housing is has giving you the better results to decrease hulling and smothering, reduce mortality, decrease wet litter and foot path lesions and breast blisters. That we can see, for instance, in the first graphic. When having a bad distribution that creates huddling, that will give you, of course, wet litter, increased mortality, and that is because you create this zebra effect. So darkness here, so shadow that creates from the walls to the center. We're not installing lights correctly or not reaching that uniformity in the whole barn. And then higher lighting densities just underneath the lamps. So then, therefore, the chickens tends to pile, and then you get that unwanted behavior. When you have the other side, very intense light under the lamp, and then you have there the feeders, those are spots that chickens will avoid. And then, therefore, in other points where perhaps there are no lights above and there are the feeders, then you get competition of feed, and then not having a uniform growth of the birds. When you reach a good uniformity, even the birds will have a better distribution along the barn, better as well head distribution or heat distribution, and also prevent competition for feed and water, because you can't go to different spots. You will decrease the stress and stimulate a more natural behavior, and will also stimulate uniform growth. So light distribution will depend a lot on how and where you will install your lights. And that will depend as well on the design of your barn and also of the lamp that will give you the best light spread of that light source in the barn. Or if you have cage housing, or if it's floor housing, or if it would be for broiler breeders and you have a nest in there, then you need to have the right lamp design that will give you the right light distribution and the correct light intensity at the right area of the house where you need it and where the birds need it. For instance, in a light plan of a floor housing, therefore, it is very important to request your light plan to the light supplier, because that is the software that will put all the characteristics of your barn and the system, if you have in there, and simulate where you will get the lights to get the best light distribution on bird eye level, to really stimulate the feed and water intake, the natural behavior, that it goes or gets the uniform light distribution. So it will give you all the values where you get the minimum lux value and the maximum, what is the average that you reach. Here, what we recommend is the 40 lux as average. Some regions, they take the 20 lux minimum to get in the barn. But with a light plan with this software is what we can measure all the lux level in different spots, and all at bird eye level, because we need the correct light intensity on the floor and not that is spread on the ceiling. It's not efficiency with the light distribution. So therefore, it is very important to get that light plan with coordinates that will tell you the distance between the lamps, the distance between the lines, how many lamps per line you will have, where to install from the walls to the center, not to create those shadows from the walls. It is also very important, the colors of the walls and the ceiling, even the floor, because if you have a dark house, they will absorb more the light. When you compare with light colors, if it is white or gray, that reflects the light better. So if you compare white walls against black walls, then you see that's a differentiation perhaps, or needing one extra line of lights in order to get that uniform light distribution. So it's not just to say I'm having always 3 lines of lamps in this barn, certain dimensions is a standard that works. But remember that something that works doesn't mean that is not some room for improvement. So if you want to see changes and better results, just have to do the measurement, do your analysis, and you will see the areas of improvement, and it can go always better. And that not only for you, but for the animals, and you will get better results. So we have here some examples on how is it before, when we see those lamps or light sources that are wider, looks that is giving more light. If we compare that with the design, they are there on the other side. But we see that in not being so efficient, that the light goes to the ceiling and not really to the floor. So it's not reaching the road with the right lighting densities to the birds. And that is what it matters. Also not a uniform light distribution. If we compare with the other, it is a more nicer environment in here, also even for operations. That helps. And when you have LEDs, you can also combine these different colors in the lamp. If you compare with other kind of light sources of artificial lighting. With LEDs, you can mix colors like the warm white with cool white, or switch from warm whites to the blue lights to have more benefits in the management of your flock. So think about light like an extra tool that will help to manage your flock in the desired way. So it's not only a part of the equipment, but that you really can get the benefit to influence on animal behavior. And besides that, when you choose for the right lighting solution with a good technology, you can save in costs. So it's really the extra thing when you are getting better farm results, then you will see as well reducing cost in other or multiple ways. Now, this is about the research that I was talking in regards to gradient lighting. That is also a trend that is happening in the US, because this is like the a way of rethinking light distribution. So not in the uniform way, but more creating a natural environment, something that simulates how birds were in nature, so in the forest. With that is where you will install the lights and how the design will be. And this goes more above the feeder lines, not really on the ceiling. So you have some lights on the ceiling because the first days you really need high lighting density, and that is so that they can recognize environments, that they can find a feeder and drinker, and they have a good start. That light stimulus that they need. But afterwards, you lower the lighting densities. And in the research, they have seen as well, when you provide these more natural environments, the birds, there are also more dominant birds than the others. And those are that sometimes reach the feed, they don't let the others to also reach the feed, and you don't get a uniform growth. And with this kind of gradient lighting, you create these environments that according to the own behavior of the bird, they can go to the feeder or the spot that they prefer, or sit with a high lighting density or with less lighting density. But it's not like the zebra effect that I show you, because that was the lights being on the ceiling, and these are lower. So that creates the different lighting densities around the house, but not on just specific lines on the whole line. So the full line would be the same. No, here would be all different lighting densities, and the chickens will choose which environment goes better according to their own behavior. Here's a bit of the example of a solution that is mounted on the feeder line, and it has to be with really good quality, because this needs to stunt the vibration of the feeder lines, right? So that is not go broken or goes away. Also not popping into the heads of the birds, for instance. So you need to know where to mount and install the lights, and also the distance between the lights to create this gradient lighting effect. And this is how improves this behavior. And they have seen really an improvement in FCR and a better growth, and that has a better and faster response to the market. But that would depend on the region, because we know here in Europe, it is also on regulation, also from animal welfare, that the has to be uniform light in barns. So depending on how is your, what is the application, what is the barn, what is the trend in the market, look for the best lighting solution, looking into all these key aspects of light that will bring you the benefits and the better results in the broiler farm. Here again, daylight simulation, what you can get from a dedicated LED when you compare to others that they might not have, this only on-off solution, an adjustable light color that is cool white, warm white, you can mix it or switch from different colors, also flicker free. Not only by someone is saying it's flicker free, measure it also when dimming, if it is really not causing a stress in birds. Having a proper light intensity and light distribution when you have a correct installation of the lights. So all these are benefits of a good LED lighting, as well with highest quality materials, with a maximum fire protection, IP67 rated when it is waterproof. This IP6 is referring kind of stunts water that is not coming into the light, so that they are really hermetic. The same with the 7, not dust coming in, so that you can wash your lights with high pressure machines, and also even with the lights on. So that depends on the technology of the light supplier. Also with an easy installation. And as a result, you will have good lighting, longer durability, easy to clean, also hermetic sealed, and meaning that you will need less lamps to replace, less downtime, less risk of fire, for instance. And that is the meaning of reducing cost in multiple ways. So till here, the presentation. Thank you for being here with us today. So as a conclusion, with optimal light climate, you have improved in poultry side, also well-being. With that, you improve performance in multiple ways. But the other side, you also fulfill the needs of the farmer with longer lifetime, high quality, of course, saving energy costs and saving other purchasing or replacements costs as well. I also want to share with you that as with Poultry School, you will have the webinars or the classes that we are bringing here. But if you have other, want to know more about lighting specifically, you can also go into our free webinars that we provide along the year as well. Just look into our website, and we can contact you as well if you have any further more questions. Thank you, Rodolfo, for the time, and to the audience for staying with us, and I hope to see you next time as well. Not sure if we still have some time for questions.
Yes.
Or if, yes.
Yes, Cristabel, first of all, thank you very much again for your practical and simple presentation. I love that. And I think, and I believe, and I hope that this will provide practical value. Is something that we really look after. Besides the knowledge, is practice, experience, going to the farm and do things different. That's part of our belief. So we have one question in the comments. Mohammad Akram Munir, he was putting some things in the chat. when you were doing your presentations, he was saying that also poor FCR is also important of broiler farmers. Stress will also lead to immunosuppression. I think that you agree with that. And then he
Exactly.
has a final question saying additional artificial light to sunlight. How much in hours and how many looks?
Okay, so for instance, the lifetime of a good, about a light program or how long it lasts a lamp?
Well, exactly the question, it is what it is say additional artificial light to sunlight. How much in hours and how much luxes? Obviously, it's asking about how much artificial light, how much hours and how much luxes.
Luxus. Okay. Well, for broiler farm floor housing, we recommend when we are looking into a uniform light, it is 40 lux average. Because and when you can dim your lights, then you can lower lighting densities. And we also hear what the farmer of the user is having as experience. As said, some they ask for 20 looks minimum, and we can adapt to that. But what it is important is where you will install your light. So we need to check on the characteristics of the barn to really reach that lighting density that you need. In hours, well, that depends on the light program of the genetic line. That is what you need to follow because those are the experts on how many hours you need to provide. But what we can recommend is that you look for the right light solution for your barn according to the type of housing, as well the lighting density that you need to reach and the characteristics of the barn, and also not only about the lighting density that is telling you the light program to follow, but to be aware that you are having a broad light spectrum, the right color, and so on. So the
Okay,
light program
perfect.
is something you need to follow. Yeah.
Here, let's see, we have Abbas Khan. Please write your question. I don't know if you can write your question in the chat. And I have a personal question, Cristabel, is I know that right now in Europe mostly, and it's coming more to North America, and it's coming to Latin America, the animal welfare subject and is
Yes.
getting more attention. Uh, what do you think about this lighting and animal welfare movement? Is going to come more and more to Latin America? Is something that we're going to be looking more in at least Latin America? I know that USA is doing something, but Europe is leading this movement.
Yes, certainly, because we see that in Europe they have more regulations that they have in Latin America or in the US. The US was a lot about cost, reducing cost, also to have more sustainable solutions. But nowadays they are looking a lot into animal welfare. They do a lot of research, and like this new technology about gradient lighting is something different again. And it is not that it's competing with uniform light, it's just the other way to distribute the light and the weight that influence the behavior of the birds to create this desired results that you want to see in the farm. So really, when you focus on animal welfare, you will see a better performance of the birds, and at the end, quantify those benefits. But of course, you need to adapt to the needs of the market. Every market is different. We see, for instance, just outside of broilers, I'm sure that we will talk about it, about layers in cages,
Yeah.
of layers in
Mm-hmm.
aviaries, and so on. That is a very important point about welfare. But we see a different economy here in Europe. And that's, we know that will increase the price of the egg when you have aviaries. So you need to adapt a bit of them on the market, but we see if you export eggs to certain regions where they look for animal welfare and certain regulations, then you need to have follow these regulations and this way of having the birds housing in the best climate to improve animal welfare. So I see that it's coming. Not that fast because you need to adapt certain things to the market. But I see users and farmers paying more attention into that and focusing on animal welfare as well.
When you do your internal research, do you go to the genetic houses or you go to end users?
Both. We work with both, with genetic lines, also with universities, also with end users, with farmers. We try to have a full team with different disciplines to run the best way and get more benefits for all of them, because each part of the business has their own vision, and we need to adapt those lighting solutions into all of them. So we try to combine the different disciplines and have their insights as well in order to get a more realistic research.
We have another question, and I think will be the one of the last ones. What animal practices are, I think this is the questions, are doing, do you think, in developing nations?
Animal practices specific
Mhm.
about broilers
No,
or
animal
in
welfare
general,
practices.
animal
No,
welfare
animal
practices.
welfare practices. What are you seeing in the developed nations?
Okay, with, for instance, in Europe, it is for sure the dimmable, talking about lighting and to create this optimal light climate, specifically because they do a lot of the climate control environments where they see more benefits because you cannot control the weather outside. And with us, a lot of different seasons, and even now with the change in climate all over the world is very difficult to predict something. So with this controlled climate, lighting is very important, because light is life, is what it really marks the photo period, the day and night rhythm of the birds, and that is what you need to create in this barn. And when you have dimmable lights with the right lighting density, to look to lower the stress of birds, also with other poultry equipments, lower the stress, then you can also stimulate more natural behavior. Every part of the equipment is looking into create a more or stimulate more natural behavior. We also see, and also for others to have layers, for instance, also the free range, or not only the aviaries and not all climate control, but I also have some access to the outside, because the sunlight is the best, but as said, the weather is not always so constant. And therefore you need this artificial lighting to extend the hours of light, to have the right lighting density at the moment that you need it, at the life stage of the chicken or the hen, and so that you can get really the proper growth and the right light stimulus that helps to the right productive cycle. So therefore the animal welfare practices are in there. For instance, also the for the catching is also reducing stress. You get even better meat quality. The right color of the light to stimulate the biorhythm, the immune system as well, to decrease diseases. With that, you also will decrease the use of vaccination or other or less hormones and so on, other things. So it really comes into that. Also the pig, how you call it, in the trimmed pig, it is not used in Europe. So you need to manage that with lighting density, also to use the system correctly. Light management helps with that. So those kind of practical things that are seen in the way to improve animal welfare or implement here in Europe or in other more developed countries, which are more away and following these regulations.
Perfect. We have 4 more minutes, Cristabel, and we have
Okay.
2 more questions. Have you experienced any broiler flock in colored light mean blue or green?
Um,
Abascan?
yes, we have here that we know that some practices or light suppliers using only blue and green for a faster growth or gain weight. But with that, you need a very specific light program to follow, because from our point of view and animal welfare, you need to provide them the full spectrum of light. And if you provide only the blue-green, they are missing also the red-orange part, which is also very important for their growth and also to decrease stress, to keep them calmer. Therefore, we are always in the site to provide white lights, so a wider, broader spectrum of light. That could be cool white, meaning that you have a higher peak on the blue-green part, so it is a more part of the blue-green, which is important in broilers for growth, but not only that color.
Okay, and the last question, I already read it. Let's see if you understand it. Farmers facing problem in bulb changing after every flock, about 100 bulls become useless due to internal circuit. What is an alternative? I don't know, quality or checking the circuits or electrical, I don't know.
Yeah, that I would need to get more details about which kind of lighting system are they having.
What
I
kind of
believe,
bulbs?
yeah, what kind of bulbs? I think it is only standard AC bulb that is with alternate currents, and then perhaps the cables of the wires, the installation or you are in a region with high peaks change of voltage that also damage the bulbs. For instance, with our kind of lights, just to put an example, it also exists with other light suppliers. We talk more about lighting systems. So it is with bulbs with power supplies and with a dimmer that will help you to protect the full light system against this higher peaks of voltage or changes in voltage. And also a good quality of the materials which are made of to avoid these issues also with the wiring and resistant to water. So that would depend on the quality and kind of bulbs or if it is a
What I
lighting
will
system.
what I will do, Cristabel, is as you share your email, Abbas, with us, I will share the email of Abbas to you, Cristabel, and you can write him directly if he needs more
Exactly.
support, if he needs different approach. So you
Exactly.
can, your company can support him and know in what market he is. So, and the last comment is a compliment. Very good presentation, Cristabel. So we
Thank you very
really
much.
this is from Muhammad Akram. So guys, we're very excited to keep providing value. Cristabel, thank you very much for your time and presentation. And like always, we're gonna be sharing this presentation next week in our platforms. And like Cristabel shared with us, HATO has more webinars to come. Please keep close to their social media. And then we also, in common collaboration with HATO and Cristabel, we're gonna be doing, I think, 2 more webinars this year before the end
This
of the
year.
year. So thank you very much, guys, and Cristabel, thank you very much for your time.
Sure. Thank you, Rodolfo, and hope to see you here next time to the audience. And feel free to contact us for any further question. Have a look into our website as well. and the social media. And if you have any further hesitation about the presentation of today, you will see it next week. Thank you, Rodolfo. I wish you all
Thank
a good
you.
day the next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.